came across you first actually with Aisha Fori.
Oh my god.
Yeah. First time I came across you, you were doing an interview with, like, you interviewed her.
I interviewed her, yeah.
So I know Aisha very well. So yeah, shout out to Aisha, doing amazing things. And from there, obviously, started to see, okay, let's see what this girl's doing. And at the time, I think you just maybe like a year or two before bought your first property. So what was your first number one introduction to property? And then, you know, how was that whole experience of buying your first house and stuff?
First introduction to property was as a child.
Wow, okay.
All the women in my family own homes.
Wow.
So it was very normal to me to be like, I'm buying a home. It wasn't wait until I get married and buy a home. It was always a goal. So I'd say that was my first introduction. And I went to uni in Birmingham, studied law, and basically didn't want to go back home to my mum. So I was like, I need to figure this out. I need somewhere to live. So I had already been saving, but not enough. Okay. So 2 years after uni, basically, is when I bought my first flat. So I was 22.
Wow.
And that was the start of all of this, basically,
okay,
as as well.
Okay, cool.
And I was working.
Obviously, you don't want to hear about you don't need to know about the air or anything like that. But what was that process of looking for something? Like, was it a thing of, look, this is the budget I have, I'll get what I can get?
Yes, pretty much. You know, I mean, I was only looking in Essex and a bit of Hertfordshire.
Okay, cool.
But I was looking in certain areas like Grays and like Thurrock, because that's all I really knew at the time. I'm from London, so I just went to places that I had heard about. But I just wasn't getting what I wanted in terms of the lifestyle or in terms of like the size of the rooms. And I was really particular about wanting good space. So I ended up diverting, still in Essex, but a completely different direction, and ended up getting much more for my money. So yeah, and I moved there, didn't know anyone, and now a couple of years later, my brother lives there, a couple of friends have moved there, so I like brought everyone over.
Oh, amazing.
That's crazy. So like you were saying, just to take it back a little bit, you finished uni, didn't want to go back home.
Yes.
Did you end up going back home or?
No, I went to live with an aunt in Enfield actually. So London, but outskirts. And I was living there. I was like renting a room. I was paying her, so it wasn't like, oh, you're just here chilling. I was paying her. I was still saving, so my life was just work. It was
small.
400 for a room, not heavily discounted. But at the time it was probably like 550 for a room.
Okay, cool.
So I know things have changed now, but so I was doing that, but I was also saving at the same time. Luckily, I had quite a lot of savings up until that point, so I wasn't starting from scratch after uni. But I think it was good because it wasn't the best situation. I wasn't like happy there. She didn't make me super comfortable, but I think that was good. Because I think a lot of parents, they make you so comfortable when you don't want to leave. So I wasn't comfortable. I was like, I can't wait to leave. So that pushed me even more to save everything.
So talk about that. Dive into that. I mean, everyone, you know, whether you're a developer or first time, but saving is a key skill. So how was that process for you? Because it's not easy. I mean,
no, it wasn't easy.
It's the hardest part.
It wasn't perfect.
First one as
it wasn't perfect. People think when I say I saved and then got a place after uni, it was probably over a 7-year period.
Wow.
So I'd always had a job. That's something my dad made sure I did throughout college, throughout uni. I would have weekend jobs, summer jobs, weekday jobs. So everything would be saved. And don't get me wrong, there were times where I would spend, and then that horrible feeling of having to start again. It was horrible. So I had to learn my lesson along the way. But eventually when I realized, okay, like, how long are you going to do this for? I finally just gave in. And luckily after uni, I fell into like a good paying job for my first job. And that allowed me to save a lot of money in that period, that 2-year period. But I do think it was luck, but it was also like discipline that I had to find, sacrifice. When everyone was like traveling, living life after uni, I was at home or at work.
That's what I was going to ask you
only,
because
that's
like,
what I was doing.
Because even though you're saying that you were saving, you got into a habit of saving from young. And it's like, but physically, like, how were you able to save? Like, what was your habits in order to save? Because that's what people want to do, because the main question is, okay, but how do I save?
How?
You know what I'm saying?
You have to look at what you earn, and you have to be real. Like, you can't, it depends how serious you are. For me, there was no, I want to live life and save. I didn't have that opportunity, unfortunately. I had the situation where I just had to do it if I wanted somewhere to live. So when it's like that, it's like, well, you don't have a choice. You're going to find a way to save back money. So my life literally consisted of going to work, meal prepping.
Wow.
Not that I had like, I would treat myself on like the weekend maybe, but that was it. So
Talk
a little bit of, you know, a moment.
No brunch.
But
You tell me
overall,
to go to brunch. You
no, all of those things came later in life for me. Honestly,
Speak
did.
on that,
Even after buying my flat, there was still years of sacrifice that people don't know, because how does a 22-year-old buy a flat and then still have the same job and have all these new bills?
Mortgages and all of that,
I can't go and do what everyone else is doing. I can't go and buy a nice car and do what everyone does. So I sacrificed so much. I'd say it's only the last couple of years that I'm able to enjoy my own money now. And
no, I think it's good, you know,
yeah.
because obviously people will see you online. I've seen your page. It's very luxury. I mean, that's what. If there's one word that comes with you, luxury. That's how I see it. Exactly. So people see that and think, oh, yeah, she's just had it. Maybe mum's giving her the money and don't get me wrong, everyone gets support and stuff like that. But the fact that you're talking about discipline and having to save, and you got a better job. Sometimes it's not about saving more. Sometimes get a better job. You know.
When I was actually looking for the flat, I was like, it was like, I was a contractor, not a contractor. I was through an agency for the role, but I had like a year contract, and I'm a Christian, so the timing of it was all perfect for me, because I was looking, and I remember saying to my dad, like, will I actually be able to afford paying for this? You know, you're looking and everyone's telling you you'll be fine, but deep down I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough money each month. But when I found my flat, the company that I was working for basically were like, we want to take you from the agency and just pay you directly. And the salary jumped.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, now I feel comfortable. So sometimes people do say like, oh, how can I save on this salary? Sometimes it is a matter of, you might just need to find another job.
100%.
Because if you are struggling to save off of what you're earning, it's not enough.
Facts.
You need to find another source of income, or you need to give yourself a longer period of time to save and be a bit more realistic about how long it's going to take you.
That's going to go into my next question. So first time buyers going to be listening to this episode. I think our majority of the listeners are going to be large chunk of them. What tips do you have for them when it comes to buying the first house? Like, what would you say the main top 2-3 tips you would give them?
So I would say, one, you have to be realistic about the timeline. So I think a lot of people, me included, you know, see people buying homes all the time. I've also been kind of part of the problem. I bought a house at 22, whatever. So everyone wants to buy really young, but I think you need to be realistic about where you're actually at in life and what you can actually afford. So set a plan, even if it is a 5-year plan, that's fine. Stick to it. You know, try and look for a well-paying job that is going to pay you well. Make sure you're not messing up your credit. Like, these are all things that we hear about a lot, but you actually have to put it into practice. And in terms of saving, you know, automate your saving. For me, like I said, when I used to spend my money, save, spend, it was because I had the control. I could easily just go into my banking online and just move the money in an instant. So you need to make it a bit difficult for yourself to take the money you're saving. And have maybe an accountability person. For me, that was my dad. And I was scared of him. So I didn't want to mess up.
Facts,
so he would be like, how much have you got saved now? You know, I've left you for a few months. Send me a screenshot of what it is. And I mean, I didn't want to, because then it's literally like, well, it's my fault. I can't blame anyone else. Like, what have you got saved? So it might not be your parent, but it could be a friend, it could be your partner. But I think having someone there that knows what your goal is, that will help keep you on track, is so important.
And I want to add to that as well, because like I said, you were saving from way back.
Yes.
And it's like people have in their mind, oh, if I have a bit more money, then I'll save. But you need to have the discipline with what you've got.
I mean, I was saving off of a weekend job.
There you go.
You can save off of any income.
That's it. And like, if you're saying make it difficult, like, give it to like your mum or your dad or like your friend and say, listen, I'm giving you this money.
That you trust.
That you trust.
Some people you see them in Dubai.
Like this.
In Dubai like this.
You know what I'm saying? But like, give it to someone that you trust and tell them, don't give me this money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's making it difficult for them to get it back. You know what I'm saying? So
put it in like an account that doesn't have a card,
there you go,
for example, or open up certain savings accounts that will penalize you for taking the money out early, like a lifetime ISA, things like that. Just make it difficult for yourself. If you know the kind of person you are.
100%.